Okay, today we will work on um, the, another important uh, the skill sets that you may need whenever you have data, and then data can be produced, generated from your apps, or your app needs to use data. Then data needs to be persistent. Data needs to be stored somewhere. Therefore, you can continually use the data or update, modify. Okay, so that is very important skills and techniques and some of the programming language that you need to know. So we will look at that today. But before we get to that issue, um, like last year, we want to launch the the teams of cyber skill competitions, teams for cyber skill competitions. Um, I want to have at least two teams uh, starting uh, their work implementation in this semester. We could that till a little after this semester. The benefit of having uh, that implementation is, first of all, you can get skill sets. Okay, and then and another big benefit, if you are interested in federal agency work, then when NSA teams come and visit Mercy College, I'm working with them. Um, the counterpartner was relocated within NSA, but I talked with her last week. So replacement of her work will be determined sooner when when we have her replacement. Then we'll plan for their visit in the fall semester. I try to make it in this spring semester, but technically, I think it is infeasible because there is no contact points counter partner right now. Uh, so, so usually it takes at least a, a month before they come. So they need to get another approval process. So in the fall also, we can invite officially few of our graduates, and Andrea San said she's going to help them to get approval from NSA so that they can come also. Um, anyway, um, the winner, I mean, your work that uh, you propose and complete in this competition will be able to be demonstrated to your employers. Okay, not necessarily federal agencies, but any employers. You can take your demonstrable work to your interviews. Uh, that works a lot better than simply verbally saying that trust me and I'm good and but they can. I mean, you all understand what I mean. Um, the topics that you could do is basically uh, the scenario of cybersecurity is that there is some attack, potential attacks. Then we need to defend it. The utmost idea of cybersecurity community is that we can allow one-time attack, but no more than once. Once you have some attack, then we need to make sure that uh, the similar or the same thing not to occur. Okay. So you can design some strong way of attack if you can, or if you know some attack scenarios already, which is powerful, then you can make something defensive. Okay. So which way is appropriate? I want you to plan to do that. Team can be consist of anyone as far as there is one mercy student. Mercy students means in any disciplines, not necessarily cybersecurity, but any. Okay. But outcome of your work should be executable, demonstratable, and give some scenarios. Finally, you need to have a final reports. Okay. The winner prize. There's always a cash prize. Last year we also made that. I can allocate some money from school and also from outside. So, but there is a little, small reward to your work, but there are a lot other benefits from this competition. So before too late, I want you to start thinking of some implementation work. This is the right time that you can start. Okay. Online students, I want you to do that also. If you cannot find any teammates, but if you think you are able to handle and complete the work, you could do that alone. But ideally, teamwork is can make some synergy effect. You could do that alone very well, but there is no synergy effect, right? But it is not excluded. So you can propose a single member project possible. Okay, for data persistence, I believe this is available on the internet. The idea, keep having this. You can work on Xcode. Xcode is like this is still. It's a development environment. You can work on Xcode. If you download Xcode, you have Swift, and then you can make some interface builder there. Meanwhile, if you have, if you need some libraries, there are two types of libraries, websites available. Okay, so for example, this is for Mac simply. and this is for iOS. They are very similar, but if you cannot find from one, then you can find it from others. It's very hard. It's not. There's no indicator that which one's available where. For example, NS UTP, UTF-8 string encoding class. This one is available in this iOS only. But the other two, this class and that class, is very important for data persistency purpose iPhone apps. Those two libraries are available here in this Mac documents. Okay, both are in this URL, developer.apple.com/library/Mac or iOS /documentation/cocoa/reference/foundation/Objective-C classic, and so on and so forth, right? So I want to take a look this at least these three libraries together with you before we get to the real implementation. Okay, NS, search path for directories in domain. NS stands for next step, right? And then search path looks like this class needs to know the location of the file systems, right? Search path for directories in domains. In domains, therefore, maybe that is on your local device. Even if that is, even if you you simulate yours so that you have an emulated device on your laptop, that device, each device has its own directory, its own file system, therefore its own data persistencies. That's reasonable, right? Even if you work on the same machine, but different kind, I mean, same Xcode and Swift apps programs, but every time you run, there's a different emulator generated. Therefore, there is a different device. For the same implementation, there may be multiple different devices created in software, which is available on your emulator, or on your real physical device. So each device has its own file system. So one time you saved some files, and next time you close it completely and off and come back next time, and your program generates new emulator. And if you see, oh, where is my data that I saved? Because it is a different device. You need to go back to the same device that you use if you need to. Okay. How can you get the device? We'll look at that. Okay. So this kind of class is needed. Then if you can find it from Google, of course, right? So Safari, I don't get why. I think because this is what is this? How can I stop? Chris, how can I stop PowerPoint presentation?
Escape on the keyboard.
It's not working. 2 times? Oh, 1 time is not enough. 2 times. Yeah, 2 times. Okay, fine. So that I can get the web browser. Okay, web browser here. I want to have a new. Okay, so actually this one is available on Mac, so that I can copy this and come back here and paste it, so that I have this is a library, Mac developer library. So a lot of classes available. But if you can search by having that, and if I type this, copy this, and come back here for search, then I don't have that. I'm going to tell you why, but somewhere there, right? It is, okay. So if you go up, then there is a foundation framework, okay? And this is a foundation framework classes. If you scroll down all the way here, then there is a foundation function reference, a foundation constants reference, foundation data type references. So other references which is available on this Mac Objective-C libraries. So that this class is available in this foundation function reference from my experiments. So if I remember correctly, I'm not sure. Maybe. Oh, it's not. Still not. And you can see here foundation function and okay, managing file path. I need to go one more forward. Okay, here. Go down. Managing a map table. Managing allocation. Managing file path. Okay, here. And as the search path for directories in domains. It is there. Why then? Maybe misspelled. But anyway, that is in on this foundation functions reference. Okay, somewhere down, so that you can see. Oh, it doesn't move. Wow. Managing file. The scroll is not properly. Okay, let's click this. All right. So you can see. Actually, this is a function. And as a search path for directories in domain, this function takes I think 3 parameters. First one is the directory, and then second one is domain and a search path domain mask, and third one boolean true false. And you can read some of the explanation here, but it's not really friendly. It says create a list of path strings for the specified directories in the specified domain. The list is in the order in which you should search the directories. So you need to give directories, then you can set up, you can create a list of path strings. Okay, somehow like that. And also another thing that you need to read and get a little bit familiar with is NS file manager, which is also available, I think, in this file framework. So file NS file manager. So NS, let's see, NS file. Yeah, I have it here. NS file manager. If you click this class, it says on NS file manager object lets you examine the content of the file system and makes changes to it. What we want to do is that the data that we have should be stored in a file system and then retrieve it. Okay, that's what we need to do. Therefore, this class is a perfect class that we can use, NS file manager. So there is a description of that class, and then some of the functions if we want to use. These are the attributes and constant notifications. Some of the functions that can determine access to files. If you want to save it on your iCloud, then there is another functions. Moving items, creating items. If you want to use the file systems. Okay. For example, create a directory at URL with the intermediate directories, remove item at URL, and all those things possible. Another thing is the encoding. NSUTF-85 string encoding that is available here in this iOS. It's different libraries. So this is from iOS. So where is it? I think it is NS. Do we have NSUTF directly? Let's see. Let's find out. NS UTF-8. No, not directly, but I think we need to find out. NS maybe string. NS string. NS secure coding. NS secure coding. Or encoding. Or you can Google it. But anyway, those are the major class and functions that you need to use. Actually, this is a function, right? Not a class. So after you understand that, well, actually, there are three ways of making data persistent. We can use text files, so data that can be stored in a text file. Another way is that using a database that is by default embedded in smartphone devices is SQLite. That is also possible. Another is a remote. Another way of making data persistent. Not only data persistence, if you want to use some data from another server, which is available remotely, that is possible. So remote database server or remote API server or others. Okay, API server is another possible. There are a lot of API servers available. One of the typical API server is, for example, stock data. And you can, Google and Yahoo provides API servers that can give it to you some stock data in JSON format for the symbol that you request. For example, if you say GOOG, that's Google's stock symbol for Google company, GOOG. If you send the GOOG to that server, then it gives you a lot of financial data. The data that you received then should be retrieved, should be accessed according to that dictionary formats last time that I introduced to you, right? So a lot of such things. If you give a URL, then you can get city names, country names, sort of like that, or geocode. Weather information, or some like give city names, then it can give you current and future weather, historical data of weather information. That is very, very typical, right? Almost all over the world. And there is some Wikipedia data. If you give a city name, then that is another thing that I am going to add into the app that I give you a short demo last time. A little bit of increase, improved from there. If I give a URL, then from URL, we can get, what we need to do is we give URL only. URL itself does not have any city names, any name of that company that that URL is presenting. There's no company names, right? Maybe sometimes company name is embedded in that URL address, but not necessarily, right? There's no full name either. There's no nothing. So those data can be found from the HTTP APIs. I studied the API services few hours. What type of services, API services available? So I spent a lot of time and then found out not all APIs are robust. Not all APIs are trusted. APIs server itself may be trusted, but data it provides. Some APIs does not provide data in consistent way. The format is not really consistent. But really consistent format and also reliable APIs is basically two things: stock price and weather, and some of the map. Map also possible, right? If you give a URL, then having the URL, then you need to access another APIs to get the location of the company represented by that URL. And based on that city name, you can get weather information. You can get map data so that you can display the map. Or if it is a company name and it is a public name, public company, then you can access the financial data. Again, financial data, there are a lot of different resources. Even for New York, not only NYSE, New York Stock Exchange, there's a NASDAQ, and there are so many others, right? Some gold markets is different from that stock markets. A lot of varieties available. Even in US, not only in New York, but there's a Chicago markets and Los Angeles markets. Maybe some in South somewhere also. So London markets and all over the world, right? Each country has its own stock markets. And also, you cannot get the stock data directly by providing company name only. Company name is a full name. Company name can be obtained from based upon URL. There's another APIs. And if you have full company names, then another API can give you, if it is a public company, then gives you symbol, stock ticker symbols. If it is IBM, then stock symbol is IBM, If it's a Verizon, then there's no Verizon stock symbols available. I think it's the VLZN, that is a Verizon. Apple, then APPL, that is for Apple stock symbols. Google, GOOG. So you can find it from APIs. There's online and real time, right? Stock symbols available yesterday is not necessarily available today because some company maybe placed in bankrupt, then there's no stock symbols, no valid stock symbols. And today there's a new company registered, then there's a new ones come up. So should get the symbols from APIs. You cannot save it. So all such things here, remote server. So dynamic, right? I found that I'm so excited that we can make APIs more intelligently. I don't see any APIs so intelligent than the one that I am planning to make, because mine is not. So coding itself needs to access a lot of APIs. So in my coding, a lot of HTTP. Only the problem of such APIs and such apps is that it's not always robust because it relies on external data being served. Data is not manipulated by me. If the data that we receive from the server is not complete in format, then apps that I can test is crashed. That's what I had. I had a lot of. And some APIs needs keys. Many of them needs keys. They don't provide. They don't provide for free. Sometimes they charge a lot. So if we and there is a free service. Free service very limited. Some API server limits by number of frequency. For example, 60 services per minute, or sometimes thousands services per day. What happens is that when I tested, sometimes test. I worked only 4 or 5 hours. That Swift programs, it reaches 1,000. So no more. After that, I cannot continue to programming unless I pay $99 per month or sometimes $1,000 per month. Very, very expensive, depending upon APIs. But weather APIs and finance stock APIs free because it's Yahoo and Google, from Yahoo and Google. There's some other servers. If you access Bloomberg APIs, you have to pay. It's not like a Bloomberg terminal payment. Bloomberg terminals very, very expensive, right? About 10 years ago, when I was working, $1,000, $1,500 per terminal, $1,500 per terminal per month. But stock dealers usually watch 4 terminals or 6 terminals or 8 terminals in their dealing offices. Then each one 1,500 per employee. If there are 1,000 employees, each employee has at least 4 terminals. Then 4,000 times 1,500. That is a minimum expenditure. Therefore, Bloomberg became famous, right? And also rich, one of the richest guys. But anyway, So that is APIs. We may not do on this, not much about this, but we definitely work on this because we do not have enough time. But this topics has unlimited improvement. A lot of work can be done in this area. If anyone wants to work on, for example, the cybersecurity skill competitions on the iPhone platform, please plan for that. I can work with you. I'm interested in very much. It's a lot of work available, right? iPhone itself can be a good tool for attack. Yeah, one of yeah, I cannot explain that clearly in detail, but one of the things that we could do. Are we going to do in this semester? No, not. Last semester we purchased it, but it delivered after the semester, so that we couldn't do for wireless network. I think some of you will, if you want to take the wireless network in the fall semester, you could implement that. GPRS, general packet radio services, yeah. And as far that GPRS can sit on Arduino, which means your cell phone can be programmable, and it can talk to your physical cell phone. Think about that. That is very, very dangerous, right? You can control anything that can be done on your Arduino remotely by phone, not Wi-Fi, only by phone, one signal. Only dial once, can do whatever that you plan on that Arduino programs to be executed. But anyway, so we will definitely do here in this file management. Okay, now this is the work. Our practice for today is that we are going to make a text field, a few text fields, and then two buttons, save and load, for example. Load means retrieve from your file system. And if you type your name, remark, and phone number and save, then it is saved on your iPhone device. Either physical iPhone device or the device emulated on your laptop, we can also access that fine. And if you click load, then you can see, you can do some programs, but simply we can list some of those, okay? Or depending upon your implementation, if you put name, then that particular name, the data associated with the name can be listed here. But anyway, technique remains the same. What you need to do is that all these components needs to be connected, right? Connected to, this is storyboard, this is control, right? View controller dot Swift or whatever Swift. If you have more than one.
Delegate, right? When you delegate some separate
Correct. Yeah. Delegates. We didn't do. I mean, physical explicit delegates. We didn't do. We didn't practice that, right? But when you work on APIs, then you need to have a lot of delegates. Meaning that controller is one of the Swift class directly associated with the playground, one of the view. And then there is a connection between these components and this controller. This is controller. But we need to have another class, another program, Swift program, separate from this controller. So it has a lot of logic here, a lot of actions. Then how can they communicate? Both of them are the class in object orientation, or you can simply say two different program, two different files, two different source files. This and that, storyboard and controller, there are some connections directly connected. Therefore, if you have here text field, then that is known by this controller, by physical connection. Remember that it's holding down control button and then make arrows.
Yes.
And then you can choose either show or some other options, but usually we choose show.
So delegate is like
delegate is like between rules, this right? And that. We have this controller and we have. I'm sorry, I'll get back to you. Before I forget, I need to explain. And this program needs to connect each other so that I can say here, hey, there's a delegates. So that this guy already know that, oh, I know this.
So which one is that you chose? That Swift? Is that also the view controller?
This is a view controller. This is on
delegate view controller. That's the
this guy needs to have the delegates of this. This program needs to put the delegates on this program, controller program. So controller program and this third-party program can connect.
Third-party program.
Yeah. Third-party means still in the same apps.
Xcode with a view controller, it basically logically organize the layout of the whatever the site. The view controller and the delegate controller assigns the rules and dictate the rules of how the name is going to react, the remarks is going to
correct, react, yeah.
Save. So both of them kind of work together.
Right. That delegation is automatic by default.
Right.
That is always available. Delegation between this storyboard and the controller. But what about this controller and another program? Then we need to explicitly send the delegates to this controller. So your program, which means is this controller program is a subclass of that delegates in object orientation. Simply, you can say, hey, you are my subclass. Okay. So what we need to do is to declare the UI components on the view controller that shift for your connections. For example, save and load, we need to choose an action and others outlets. Save button, Therefore, it needs some logic. See here, save. It is an action. Therefore, it has some logic on the view controller. What save logic should do is to read data from the text field, whatever the appropriate text fields, and make a string to save, and let ns file manager to run the method write to file. This is another method. So this is a method automatically created soon as you choose an action for that UI components. But this method needs to invoke this. So write to file or read from file, whatever the name that you name. NS file management, what it can do, what it should do in this view controller -swift. First thing is that you need to specify the file name and file location, right? The function that you use for setting file system is this: ns search path for directories in domain. Okay, and then we can do, well, altogether is this. This is a variable. Variable is nothing but ns search path for directories in domain, which is a function that can take document directory and then user domain mask. You don't have to change this. You don't have to change this, and you need to set that true. If you have this, then it returns the array. If you do this, if you print this, it gives you an array. Within the first element of that array, you need to attach the file name. In this way, this file is located on the file structure of your apps. Okay, so this is not really reasonable, but anyway, always you have to say 0, which means it is expandable, but currently there is only one location, default location. That is the location that you need to attach your file name. Therefore, you have a full path, fully qualified path of that file system that you want to work on, you want to save, you want to retrieve from. Okay. Simply you have file name, and that file name needs to be attached to that specific device and specific iPhone app. By having this gives you that by default. You don't have to say, think about that in file system of Windows, then you have a C drive and backslash and some other directories, backslash some other directories, and finally you have a file name, right? But you have to make sure, you have to understand all paths from top. But here you do not need to. By saying that dot document directory, dot user domain mask, and true, then it gives you from top to all the way down to that that current location, and you simply save that. You simply specify the file name. So, for example, this is some of the boxes that you can enter, and if you say click save, then you can say it is saved, and if you click load, then it gives all the names, right, that I tested. There may be some of my name, right, here, there. This is my real number, 914-582-3659. If you forget my number, you need to go back to this slide and open it. Okay, the function that how to save. What is the logic that I need to do? You need to declare. You need to read these three statements. Is to read data from those text fields and assign it to local variable, so that I can say first, last, and phone number. And then I combine them all together. So first, tap, last, tap, phone, and finally, new line. In this way, I can retrieve the data systematically, which means taking one line, first element is the way that I saved first, and second element, and then split the line by tap. You can do comma, you can do, instead of this delimiter, you may use some others, whatever you want to use, okay? But tab is very reasonable way that you can do for, for delimiter, because there's no, people call himself with this tab. Anybody's name with tab? Comma or dash, somebody has that, right? Somebody has a dash. John Paul, our faculty's name. John dash Paul. I'm not sure somebody has a question mark on their name. Why not, right? Exclamation mark, maybe. But I don't think it's less likely tab. So that, what is your name? Oh, my name is JY Tab 25. What do you mean by tab? Hit the tab key. How can I write yours on my paper and pencil? I don't know, tab. But anyway, tab is less likely, right? So I put tab. So first name and last name in between tab, then that is not a continuous one single name, but separates. After that, I can bring up my file manager. File manager is a class, and I can set, oh, that is my default manager, and this is an object of my file manager. My file MGL is my file manager object reference. And then first here, if there is no file exist, then we need to if file exists, if not file exists, then let's do this so that we can save. Okay, write to file. This is to save. We need to save this. If there is a write error like this, if there is an error, then we can write some error messages, and else and I think we can save this. This is string to save, and then finally we save entire. That's it. These three statements is to remove virtual keyboards from your screen. And continually load if you want to retrieve it. Retrieve is here again. First, we have to check if that exists, and list phones. I think this is by wrapping list of phone number. Line break. Okay, list phone is that I think text fields. Let's see, list phones. Oh, we don't have that. Yeah, I think this is the label of that big area that we can do. So we want to do wrapping. So we have multiple lines, and another setting is a number of lines, initially 0, and data from phone book, which is a variable, which is a string that we can encode the data from phone book. Okay. Anyway, so what we will do is we will practice. Question?
They have instead of the try catch, they have the do catch. This is the syntax of
Try
this,
it. They have a try catch.
it seems to
Where
be
is
do catch for the two big block.
no, there is a try. Should be. Here, try. Try catch. From here all the way, that is one, I think. One statement. Okay. So we need to practice that. What I want you to do is to create new Xcode project. Try it. Let me bring some of our
So, Barry, online, so the professor show up? Yep, that's good. Yeah.
Okay. So, single view application. Name for that is, what do you want to do?
File upload.
Phone book or what?
You are saving the data in a file, something.
Anything, yeah. I think phone book is good, right? Exercise phone. exphone, and then next, and then create, and then go to main storyboard. I want to hide this, what is this? Some structure of this storyboard by clicking lower left corner. I can bring this inside. I didn't change it, this view, the size, for example. You can choose if you want to do, then you can. Right now I didn't do anything, but you can choose any one of those. If you choose, for example, 3.5 inch, then that is smaller, right? If you want to do much top, then that is by default. So let's try to have a little reasonable size, 4 inch. Good. Right. First thing that you need to do is some labels, so that you can bring this label up here somewhere, and then you can say back here text is plain, and label, you can change this label to something else, your name, and then extend a little bit wider, your name, and then you can say colon, right? It's better. So your name, and another label, maybe let's make 2 only, name and phone number. So you can say phone number colon. And alignment, if you want to make this the right alignment, then click on that alignment. Alignment can be found any one of these, and then there is a attribute inspector, which is called the attribute inspector, and then there is a alignment, so you can choose that to right justification. If you choose that to right justification, I need to do both right justifications. That is better, so that I can move this all the way to see there is a line. Okay, see there is a line. I'm using an arrow button. Click arrow button so that I can see the alignment line, which means they are aligned. Another thing that I want here, I need to save it at the bottom here, right? So that I can bring this bottom here, and you can simply double click here, say list, which is the same as you change here attribute inspector, or you can directly do here. Here, if you want to make it bigger, then come back here, attribute inspector. There is a font size. You can increase it to say 21 and a little bigger. So that is a list. Fine. If we want to make this wider, fine. And if you want to make it background color all the way down of that attribute inspector for the list background, click that, there, then there are multiple different ways displaying the list of color. The one that I like is like a crayon, right? I think you like crayons, right? I don't like crayons. When my daughter was so active, she painted my wall a lot. But that time it was great, but I missed that. I want to choose maybe this. Good. So that you can close that. To make this, and then for example, if we want to make multiple lines of this space, label space, then come back here. There's a lines, so you can do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, for example. So 10 lines can fit in. Left justification, fine. Oops. Another thing. Okay. And then you need to do text field. Choose on this utility pane, the lower left corner, there is a text field, the same text field. So you can type text field. So you have that. Bring that text field next to your name. But look at this. When you bring this, then if you want to align this to top margin, top boundaries, or lower boundaries, or center, whichever you want. Okay, I want to make it center and push it all the way. Make it again, another. Similar. And then finally we need to have a button. Button. So bring this button center. You can say save. And another button. Retrieve. I want to make this button text a little bit so that we can see it clearly. Center and retrieve color may be better. Color is okay, but save. I want to make it save it in the center. Save it. Foreground color, text color, to make it purple. Shadow, if you want to make shadow, I want to shadow, I don't know, like this, a little bit, not quite, but if we make this a little bigger, then you can see it. Not really. But anyway, you can play with this. Save image. So by this time, you can run it to see if it emulates well. Too big. This is my phone. Okay. So right now, nothing that you can do. And still you can do, still you can click because it knows that is a button, but nothing connected to the controller. No logic. Okay, then we can stop it. Now we need to connect to the controller, our Swift coding list. So what you need to do is on top there is two circles overlay, which is called the assistant editor. If you click this, right now we have only one controller, so there is no conflict. But if there is more than one, therefore brings something that you do not want, then you can click here, somewhere here, so that right now only one, but you can see multiple difference. There's automatic, some others, right? We don't have that many, so you can choose from there. If you see this controller coding, then there's a this controller is nothing but class, right? We didn't say class so far, but that is a class. This is a class name, view controller, which is in this type, UI value controller. Okay, that is already available. User interface view controller, that is a class already defined. So now we want to have this. And after that, in the space, make a little bit of the wider of the space. And then we need to decide which one that we want from this. Which one that we need to connect so that in our logic, we can do some programs. First of all, we don't need to use this anything at all, right? These labels. This is for the user. But this text field, where we want to collect data from user. So we need to connect this GUI to this logic by holding down Control button and drag. And then name, here in this case you need to name it. There is a text field for name. So you can say TF number 4 name, and the connection type is outlet. If there is a button or any other components that requires action, then you can choose action. But right now, simply outlets. And then nothing but click on connect so that you have this. Okay. So in the same way, we need to make this to that. There is a line, therefore underneath that, the line that you want to add, then you can see the line. When there is a line below the current declaration, then new declaration will just right below that current declaration. If you do this, then in between there is one extra line. So bring up and release, and then you need to name the variable that. So there is a reference variable. So text field for phone, I name it, and then click on the connect. Therefore, you will have two variables. Okay, one for TF name and the other TF phone. So two variables needs to be. These two variables holds the name typed by user, right? Another here, that is a button. If clicked, then you have to take some action. In the body of that action module, you need to now implement what to do, how to do, right? That's what you need to do. So hold down the control button and save and coming back somewhere here. I think I can put it here. And then change this. Don't forget to change this to action. And then you can say button btn2 save. That's what we want to do, right? We want to save it. See, therefore you have function like declaration. You have a function btn2 save, and then there is a parameter, and then open and close curly brace. In between these two curly brace, you need to now do some implementation. Similarly, retrieve, then you need to do make this also an action connection, and the name for that is btn to retrieve or load, btn to load, and connect. And there is another the function body that we need to work on. And finally, this, do we need this label? Yes, we need this, right? In that way we can give some comments or retrieve the data retrieved from the file should be displayed in this region. So connect this to also all the way up here. That is simply label. So LB for display. LB for display. So now completely everything connected between this storyboard and the controller. I have two functions, each for these buttons, and two text fields and one label. Okay. It is automatically saved all the time, periodically, and then periodically, I said periodically. At some points, if your system, I need to make sure that, I have 52%. Depending upon the power or the functionalities of your laptop, doesn't save. But usually, periodically. I had only one time that issue, but other than that, all saved very well. And I'm going to close this control Shift that I have here, and I need to go back to that source code directly. So from your navigation pane, find out view controller.swift. If you click that, then you can see the code that you created, just you created. Let me see if I can increase the fonts. What I'm trying to do is to try to find out any way that I can increase the fonts.
Edit, format.
Here?
Yep, format.
Oh.
And
Text?
try bigger.
Size. Simply button bigger. Only 2 cases. Bigger. Not really big. Oh, which one? Edit. Format. Not format. Fonts.
Show fonts will bring up a number system.
Show font. Where?
Over to the right. Nope, font. Click on that. I don't know if that'll. Oh.
So 22. Nothing happens. I don't know what font is this. Okay. Bear with it until we find out. I'm sure there is, right? There is a way that we can increase this, but or see if I can. No. More intelligent. No. Okay. So what we will do here. Okay. So first, what we need is we need to yeah. Let's say file name. We can say phone book equals slash phone book.txt. Okay. But we need to make sure that where we want to save. To get that, we need to have that function Remember the function is ns search. Oh. It's not understood. ns search path no ns ns search.
Do we have to import anything for this?
No. Oh, that's outside that class. ns search path for directories in domains. So click that. And then this search path directory, I want to have it default, my current apps, within my apps. Then you need to highlight it and simply type document directory. Type D, then the current suggestive option is document directory. So click that. And next, the domain mask is again dot, and there is a local domain mask. You don't do simply type dot, then you can see the options, right? Here, expanded tilde is simply true because you want to expand it, right? And remember that this guy returns an array, but the first array contains the current directory, the directory path of the current location that is on the first element of that array. And we need to use this, therefore we need to declare as a constant variable, say location equals that, right? But we want to save it as a string, so say string. I think we because we want to, I think this is still okay, right? So let our path to phone book PB, path to phone book is the location lock, which we defined above, and then we want to do string by pending string. So this is a string. Lock is a string that contains the current directory of the current device. And I want to attach my file name to that long path. How can I do that? Then I need to use the function string by appending string. If I click that, and then which one that I want to append? I want to append phone book. phone book cannot be used to view controller. So I think we need to take everything outside. So controlling that and okay, so far so good. So we have the file phone book declared. And now if user enter the name and phone number and click the save button, then we need to save them, right? So that is here. So what we need to do is first we need to make sure that a file exists, right? So file can be manipulated by file manager, right? So inside here, let's see, anything that we need to do? No. Simply if ns file manager, this is a class, right? And if you put here, then it can give me those who understand Java, then by open and close parentheses right after the class name, then that constructor on objects. So this is nothing but an object reference is created. So that object reference will execute one of the method that is available on that file manager. So file manager has so many methods are available. One of the methods that I want to first to find out is that the existence of a file. So that method is called the file exist at path. So click that. Then path is the path that we already put here. Path to phone book. Path to phone book that is picked up very intelligently by this suggestive pop-up. So click that. If that exists, then what we need to do is we need to do some action, right? And that's a load. We need to save it. I think I made the wrong ones. This should be done. Load. If this exists, then we need to do something. Let me put this. Copy it. No. Exclude it. Then push it back to the load. Save is something. The first thing that we need to do for save is we need to read the user input, right? So we need to read the user input. For example, tf4 name, we need to read it, which means text, and then we need to assign it to our local variable, right? So we can say that variable and then name equals. And then there is a an error. It says initialization of a variable name was never used. To consider it as in this case we can say let, if you want, if it is not changed. And then still there is some error. It says it was still the same. This is the wrong one. What happens is here is that we do not know the name is really entered. Name has a that text field has something to read. We do not know. But this statement says, I want to assign the value available on that text field to this new variable. What happens if there is no value entered? Then there is an error. Therefore, we need to put here exclamation mark. And then error disappears. Oops, initialization. What happens?
The first initialization should be outside the function.
No, that's okay. No, I mean this is okay. This is not an error. This is a warning. Initialization of mutable variable name was never used. Consider replace. Yeah, we don't need to do. And then we can do also phone. Similarly, tf for phone dot text and then exclamation mark. And then we need to, oops, error. It's not an error. Why it's an error? Okay. Then we can do variable and string to save. What we need to do is I want to have name and then tab and then another phone and then finally new line. That is a string that I want to work with. Okay. That's okay. This guy is crazy. And then let's see what happens. Rather than saving it, see if we pick up those values. Just to test, okay? So if I run this, and I can say your phone, my phone, my name is John, and phone number 3659, and save. When I do this, then I can have here. Remember that I didn't yet save it in a file, but simply print it to see if I pick up properly, right? So that you can see that I want to choose this. If this is too big, then I can choose this to iPhone 5, so that better size, hopefully. Is it here? Oh, this is resize. It's a better size, right?
Did you fix the size again?
Near the bottom round
Up here,
and the stop, there is the list of
some others. 5 is still big. I don't know why. Make it smaller. Okay. Now we need to do, instead of print that, we need to now save it. So here, file manager. So my file manager, my FM equals ns file manager, ns file manager dot and default file manager. So that is default file manager that I want to save, right? And then what I want to do is if my file manager dot file exist, my file manager dot file exist at path, and then path is path to phone book. If that exists, if that is not exist, then if that exists, if let's say if it is not exist, first of all, then we need to create, right? If it is not exist, then what we need to do is we can simply, what is that? That string text to save, that string dot, and then there is a because that is a string. String has a function called write to file. That is the function. That function has there's only one method, right? So we can choose that method. And then path for that is, we already had the path, right? So we can say path to be, and automatically we can say yes, automatically. If it is not available, then automatically create that. And then encoding here is ns now UTF-8 string encoding. That's what we want to do. Call can through, but it is not marked try. So what happens here is that for external, somehow if we want to access the file system, then file system is the external in the scope of this control.swift. It's not internal of this file, this coding itself, right? It is external resource, which means there may be some unexpected errors available. We call that exception in Java programming, right? Exception. In Python also, in C. There's an exception may occur. So we need to handle that exception. how can we handle exception? The best way is that to use try, right? So we simply use try. If it is a try, then what happens here? Then we need to catch it, right? Try, then we need to catch. Catch. So that we can simply print error. Okay. But this guy and try itself is not working alone. Therefore, we need to have do. So do try like this, and this guy needs to have a little bit indent. Okay, we simplify that. So if file doesn't exist, then try to save it. If it doesn't save, then there is an error. Error may occur because the path to the file is not valid, or file name is not valid. There are all different unforeseen exceptions available. Therefore, in our coding list, we can simply say try. By saying try, therefore, if any exception occurs, then exception will be handled by exception handler. We don't do here much of that exception handling. So if that doesn't exist, but else if it exists, else, then we can do here save it. Um, to save it, what happens here is that we want to create a string pattern first. One of the string here is that string and the content somewhere here. String all the way down. Almost impossible to see that. So we can say content. Okay, content of a file, and then encoding. So this string content of URL, content of file, and encoding. This one. This one needs to be chosen. And then there is a throws, so that we need to have try. Again here, try. If we want to do try, then here do try. To further here, Content of file is there's a path to phone book, and encoding is still NSUTF 8 string encoding, and then this one needs to have that, and do needs to have close, and then there is a catch. There's a simply pattern of that, and then catch, you can say print again, simply like this. What you need to do is what happens? It's not a problem. And then this temp needs to be, the one that we want to save is st2save, so that should be concatenated with that path, and then again another try, string to save, and then now write to file of that we worked at, the same one before, automatically, that yes, that is true automatically, and then encoding is NSUT F8 encoding. That is the way that we can save. And TLUE. Okay. After all this, then, because this is for save, right? These two needs to be, virtual keyboard needs to be cleared out. So name dot resign first responder, and same thing TF4 phone, and resign first responder. This is for save. Let's try if it is saved. Right here, I can say your name, John, phone number 3659, and save. There is an error. Thread one, we do not know what it is. fatal error, index of out of range, which means there is no 0. NS search path for directories in domains. NS search path for directories in domains. I think that is it. And that is the first element. What I'm saying here is that is an error that, which will usually because of that. But there is one first.
Professor, I have a different error.
Hold on, let me.
Maybe
Maybe some.
you
It should work. I don't know.
already have saved the same file with the same name.
This is different program, so I don't think it is. Do you want me to change it? Let's try to change it. Phone book 2. Is it because of my playground? Playground should work. I tested this playground. I don't know. Close that playground.
In your playground, you had user domain mask. Up there, we have .local domain mask.
Oh yeah, should be user. Thank you. Yeah, not local domain. User, so that it should be on my. Oh, thank you. So John 1 2 3 4 save. Oh yeah, it is saved. So what I okay. So right now we do not know whether it is really saved, right? Because we simply saved. We think it is saved because another thing that we could do is, let me close this before we take break. Once it is done, which point that is done here, right? If it is saved, then we can say, I want to say in this display, LB4 display, text, I want to say saved successfully. How about that? Then when I click this to run, and then username John and phone number 1234, save. Then here it says saved successfully. right? And then retrieve will be tried after 10-minute break. Okay, so I'm going to leave this on, and if you need help, you can do. Let's see. Oops. Come to share. Stop recording. Okay, assume that the phone number is saved. Then we need to come back here to load. This is the thing that we stopped last time, which means if file exists, then we need to retrieve it, right? To retrieve is very similar to this content of file, so we can retrieve it, right? So what we will do is I'm going to copy this, same as that we did, because it has a try, we need to do and then do that. What is the error? It's not a problem. It's a simple things, and then get it, and then save it at, display at this label LB. So LB for display, I want to for display dot text. I want to put this temp. Enter. Error thrown here, not handled. So that we need to handle. So catch. And then print error. Let's see what happens. This is a simple retrieval. So here John and I would say John 2 and then phone number 8877 and save and retrieve. See here I have John 1 2 3 4, John 1 2 3 4, and this time John 2, so 8877. So they came up. The similar to this can be done using MySQL, but next time, I'm not sure how many more sessions with iPhone apps development, but maybe one or two more. Let me find out. Before the spring break, we need to finish up. How many weeks do we have for spring break? So next week, 11 and 18 and 25. So 3 more weeks before spring break. After spring break, then we do not have enough time. After spring break, the first session after spring break is April 8th. Then 8th 15, 22nd, and 29. So 4 sessions in April. And then in May, 6 only one. So five sessions total after the spring break. The 5 sessions that we have to do for project presentation also. So if we do not have enough time, then maybe project presentation could be done individually and posted on the YouTube in order to save time. I cannot grade your apps on my system because it's a lot of hidden and a lot of configuration needed. I've done that for Android apps, but grading itself takes several days. I need to figure out students' configuration because their configuration is not really fully delivered to, their submission. And when I install their submission on my laptop, then my environment is not the same as students' environments. It's a lot of hassles. Not only hassle, but sometimes impossible. So the easiest way is that you need to give demo on your own, and then I can see your demo. That is better. But sensor networks needs to be done at least 5 or 6 weeks. So after the spring break, we have only 5 weeks if we don't do anything else. Even the final week, if we meet, then that is 5 weeks, which means we have to start apps, wireless, somehow before the spring break, which means we have only 2 full sessions next week and the week after that. Then, and this iPhone apps, I'm going to do this. Oh yeah, I think we could do, yeah. File-based data persistence done today. And then next week we will do, we will use SQLite. If we use SQLite, remember that we need to use SQL. So the data manipulation is a lot easier than this. In this case, we need to save it and bring that all up and save it all up. But for SQL, then we could have more buttons and more meaningful retrieval, right? Give username, a last name, then can I have all the phone numbers of all the people whose last name is this, or first name, or whatever. We can make more meaningful. So more text fields. Text fields. Therefore, maybe we have 2 different views. One view is for saving. After that, another view is for retrieval. Retrieval is different questions, right? Saving, that all the data needed to be inserted, but for retrieval, there is on your own. That's what we want to do for next week, and then a little bit for the following week. So that is, so next 2 weeks we will stay with iPhone, and then 3rd week from today, which is a week before the spring break, we'll do sensor. Okay? Any questions? yours is still not working?
No, I don't know why. Oh, yeah.
Maybe iPhone does not like you. Okay, then this is it for today. I'm going to save this and then I'll post this.